Hey guys, Evan here back in the video, and today we're going to be doing a review on the movie monster series Evangelion figure. Now, first thing I want to mention, this is, once again, another birthday gift. This is probably the only movie monster series figure I got that was not a Godzilla figure, and is AV Unit 1, which, by the way, I watched Evangelion 2 summers ago, and I thought it was pretty good. I felt the end of it could have been better, but I still figured that the figure design was really cool, so I figured why not get it. Now, I did receive a little bit of criticism because, well, first off, we're going to get into this later, but you have this bent horn and such, but it's actually a pretty decent figure, and we're going to get right into the pros. First part I like about this is the paint job. Every color on this, besides black, obviously, is a booming color. We have this really nice green and purple. Of course, black and silver, or really gray and black, are, I would say, normal. Not really booming because they're darker colors, but everything else certainly is booming. The orange here, purple, green, everything I've already mentioned. And there really are not any paint scuffs to be found anywhere. But again, newer figures, so I should obviously expect that. In general, really good paint job. Let's get into the next thing I like about this figure. When it comes to the next thing about this figure, it is the articulation. The articulation on this figure is, in my opinion, a very, very solid average. Now, why do I say this? For one, we have what I at least thought at first was just two joints. I originally thought that just the arms move. We also have to realize that not just do the arms move, we also have the head and a new type of joint, which I've never seen on a figure from a movie monster series, is one where the legs go to the side. Now, I don't know if I would really want to position my figure in such a way where, like, you know, leg can essentially do like this. But I do think it's cool that they're trying out new joint positions, and I certainly think that you could do some cool joint positions with this, but wasn't really expecting that type of joint, but it still is at least 4 joints of articulation. So again, slightly above average or just solid average. Really like the articulation on that. That being said, let's get into the cons of this figure. When it comes to the cons of this figure, one of the honest main cons, which I already mentioned at the very beginning, which is really bothersome, and which even people in the comment section of my birthday all were pointing out, is that the horn is bent. Now, of course, this doesn't have to do with the figure mold itself. I imagine it was straight when they made it. However, package and everything, it all kind of made it bent. Of course, should I blame that on the figure company? I know ideally you shouldn't, but of course, if you're going to realize that such an issue could possibly happen, I feel like they could have made it with perhaps better material, or at least could have made this a little bit thicker so that it would be easier to put into place. Of course, right now it looks straight because I just, aligned it in such a way, but over the next few minutes, you'll see that it slowly goes back to being this obvious bent position, which is really unfortunate. Next thing I don't like about this figure is the standing position. So this figure is able to stand, but like a lot of figures, which are two-legged figures, you do have to really concentrate and make sure it can stand. Normally, if you were to just place it here, it would fall because the feet, I think you can already tell here, are not exactly solid to the ground. So definitely a fairly big con on that one. Final con is really a nitpick, but the details are slightly under average. That's why I didn't mention it as a pro. Largely the reason for this is because most of the figure is really smooth. It's a smooth outline. There isn't much detail to point out. It's probably one of the first times we've ever put detail in the con section, but again, look across the arms, the legs, really just smooth, not really much detail to see. I would argue the facial detail is pretty good, but the detail and everything else besides that is not very standout, so I couldn't ideally give the detail a pro just because the facial detail was pretty good. So again, a little too smooth, and I understand if they're copying off the design, and if there's not much detail in the design, they can't really do that, but I'm just judging it based off of what it could have been, and clearly that's not one of its establishing pros. I'd rate this figure an 8.3 out of 10. I do think it's better than the last figure I reviewed, which is the Manda, which I still awkwardly think is not as good as the Manda figure, but that's because I've always wanted a Manda Bandai. In general, I would recommend you guys get this. Pretty cheap on Showcase.kaiju where I got it, so recommend you get it out soon. Of course, ideally, you should probably get a more articulated version of the AV Unit 1 if you want to do some cool poses, but I can't exactly recommend that because I do not have one. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later, and bye-bye.